Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Game Hunting. I'm here at our first stop in Faceless Monkey in Truro, which as you may know is a regular haunt of mine, and they had some very cool stuff on offer today. So let's check this out. They had a lot of games here from Mega Drive to 2600, which was probably the most interesting thing I saw today, and we'll get to that a little bit later. And they also had a lot of Game Boy stuff, and also a healthy amount of Game Boy Advance cartridges, and Nintendo 64 cartridges, and some more Atari 2600 next to two GameCube systems, and some odds and ends there, including some Dreamcast VMUs. There's some Sega Master System games there in the box next to some loose Mega Drive cartridges. And there's some GameCube, PlayStation 2, Wii U, DS, PlayStation 1 and Wii games. As you can see, everything is pretty much wherever it may lay, but that does make it pretty fun to dig around because you never know what you're going to find and where you're going to find it. So here I'm digging through the Atari 2600 games, or some of them I should say. There's some good titles there, and down below that there's what everyone wants to see, which is of course the Mega Drive games. I actually did look through them, but I digress. I know you guys want to see these Atari 2600 cartridges here. That's right, they have Phoenix, which is an awesome game, and Video Pinball with a custom label. No, let's be serious. I know you want to see these Homebrew 2600 games right here. These are awesome. I never see this sort of thing out and about. Halo on the Atari 2600. This is pretty awesome. These were really sweet to see. I never see this sort of thing out in the wild. There's Fall Down from Atari Age. And of course, I had to get a closer look on Halo on the Atari 2600. As I understand, it plays a bit like Berserk from what I have seen. And I did, take a good look at some of the 2600 cartridges. There's Hero, a very choice game. Now, some of these games had price stickers on them, but those are old price stickers, so they don't represent the price at the time, unfortunately. And many of these Homebrew games were very expensive because they're very hard to get your hands on. So I didn't end up picking them up, but they were really awesome. They were just a bit more than I want to spend on Atari games. So they were quite expensive, but some of these games were produced in very small amounts and are quite hard to get your hands on, so that's why they demand that price. But it was really awesome to see them, and I just couldn't resist taking a deeper dive into the Atari 2600. There are some absolutely great titles there as well, many of which I already own, but it was cool to dig through them. There's Demon Attack, which was really cool. I did consider picking that up, and Hero for the 2600. I did look through the Mega Drive games, and I picked out James Bond 007 The Duel for the Mega Drive, which is a platformer. It looked pretty cool, so I snagged that James Bond game. And then I took a look through the Game Boy games, and I saw Bobble on the Game Boy in a Game Boy case, and I had to grab that as well. I also picked out Lord of the Sword on the Master System. It's always great to find Master System games. And then I looked at some NES games. There's Solomon's Key and Kid Icarus, and some more boxed NES games. Now, many of these NES games in the box here, I have loose cartridge, and I just didn't want to pay the extra to upgrade for the box and then have an extra cartridge lying around as well. But I did pick out some of these, which was pretty cool to see, and there are some great titles there as well. They also had some loose cartridges which I dug through. There are some choice titles there as well. Lolo 2 is a fantastic game which I actually already have in the box. They have Mega Man 2 there and Quantum Fighter, and a ton of cool NES games there. Like I mentioned, Lolo 2 is great, and they have the Flintstones there, but the label is damaged. At the very back, they also had Metal Gear on the NES. They had recently put these out, so they were in no kind of order, but like I mentioned previously, it's just fun to dig through the games. Here's some original Xbox games on the other side of this part of the store, next to some PlayStation 2 games right here as well. And then as we move on, between this section and the next section, there is a table with some comic books, box sets and games, which leads into the newer part which they have moved into, which has really been fleshed out now and is looking fantastic. That Return of the Jedi bag looks amazing. Now they've really filled the shelves here with toys and games, and I'm very surprised that NES action set has not sold yet, because that is amazing to see that in the box. But they have a lot of systems here as well, from the Xbox 360 to the Sega Saturn to the Nintendo GameCube. And there's a Sega Mega Drive Model 1 with a 32X attached there as well. Here's some PlayStation 1 games, including Apocalypse and Soviet Strike, some light zappers and controllers, and a bunch of cassette games, including Power Pack tapes, which came free with magazines, which was really nice to see. Most of these are for the Commodore 64 and the ZX Spectrum. They also had some Star Wars VHS tapes, but these were not the original releases, and I couldn't help myself but dig into the PlayStation controllers and games. They really had some oddball controllers there, and some pretty cool games here as well, including Everybody's Golf. Everybody loves that game. Now, I couldn't resist showing these action figures. They were fantastic. You have figures from The Walking Dead there, Doctor Who figures including Davros, the creator of the Daleks, Spider-Man, and so many Batman figures. There's the Riddler, and you also have Batgirl there. There's the Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters, and you also have Two-Face there as well. So many great figures. There's a Batman and Superman set, and there's the Mad in Love set, including the Joker and Harley Quinn. There's Robin as well, and Nightwing. These were really awesome, and they really caught my eye. The Batman animated series figures were especially cool to see, but let's get back to the video games. They just acquired a bag full of old PC games in the box. These are for systems like the Commodore, the Amiga, the Atari ST, and they're all in the box, and for the most part complete. There's Altered Beast there, that was really awesome to see, and you have floppy disk games here as well as cassette games. There's Leisure Suit Larry there as well, and this was just really awesome. I can't believe I didn't pick up that version of Altered Beast, to be fair, but there was some really cool stuff here. There's Precious Metal, a collection of games from Ocean, and there is also Asterix there. Now, to be perfectly honest, I may have had tunnel vision whilst recording, because I am seeing a lot of things now that I am very surprised I did not pursue and pick up. And to be completely truthful, many of these games had in fact sold whilst I was going through the shop and recording, unfortunately, as well. Shadowlands, which you just saw, was a strategy game which I was interested in. They also had some Arnold Schwarzenegger games there, including Predator and Terminator 2, but here's what I did pick up. I of course had to grab Bobble on the Game Boy, and Lord of the Sword on the Sega Master System, and James Bond 007 The Duel on the Mega Drive as well. I also picked up Kabuki Quantum Fighter on the NES, Mega Man 2 on the NES, and in the box, The Adventures of Bayou Billy and Solomon's Key on the NES boxed as well, which was really awesome to find. And that's not all. I also grabbed Metal Gear on the NES and Dino Crisis 2 on the PlayStation 1. Our next destination is Total Replay in St. Austell, and as you know, whenever I'm here, I'm always drawn towards this Mega Drive and Master System loaded cabinet with assorted cartridges inside. We'll take a deeper dive into that cabinet in just a moment, and I'm not going to lie, I did find some absolutely great stuff, and stuff that I had been looking for as well. In these shelves here we have some Nintendo DS and PlayStation Portable games, leading on to some original Xbox and PlayStation 1 games as well. I always take a good look at the PlayStation 1 games and the PSP games. There's Silverfall, which I do believe I went and picked up at a later date. That's a RPG game on the PSP. They had some Xbox games in this crate there, and here's some PlayStation 3 games and Xbox 360 games that layer this wall that completely covers this side of the shop. There's so much PS3 and Xbox 360. I did take a good look through here, but as I mentioned, my main focus is going to be on those Mega Drive games, but they also had a lot of original Xbox games all over the place, as you had seen, which is another system I have my eye on. Now, as you can see here, they have a lot of Mega Drive games, and you may have spotted some rather uncommon ones on the top shelf, which I definitely took a good look at. And they also include some NES cartridges in here, some loose Mega Drive cartridges, and there was also some Nintendo 64, some memory cards, and some Game Gear cartridges in there as well. But as you can see, my focus was very much on Golden Axe Warrior. That is the game I really wanted to pick up. I did pull out a bunch of games. There's Golden Axe Warrior, an RPG Golden Axe game on the Master System. For the Mega Drive, there's Rocket Knight Adventures, which is less uncommon, but no less good. They also had The Story of 4, which looked like a very interesting game indeed, and here's Warsong, which is rather rare, and I did find it funny that the images on the back of the box were photographs of a television screen rather than screen captures. Here we have Solil, also known as Crusader of Century, which is an RPG, and here's another RPG which is a Genesis version instead of a Mega Drive version, and that's Phantasy Star 3. And speaking of Phantasy Star, here is Phantasy Star 4, which is a little bit more expensive than the previous game. And here is a little bit of a curiosity. This is Raiden Trad, or at least it appears to be, as this is very much an obvious bootleg or reproduction, but still cool to see. So I ended up picking up Golden Axe Warrior. There are some faults with the box, but otherwise I'm very happy to pick that up. And the Genesis version of Phantasy Star 3 I also picked up, very happy about that. And I also grabbed that reproduction cartridge Raiden Trad, which was really cool. Couldn't agree on a price on the other items, unfortunately, but I'm still glad on what I picked up. Our next destination is Once Cash Center in St. Austell. They had a bunch of stuff in the window that you can see here, N64 controllers there, and PlayStation 3 Move controllers, which also work on the PlayStation 4 VR. And inside they had some Game Boy Advance box games, and I still haven't picked up Van Helsing, which I had my eye on last time I was in here, but I also cast my eye to the other games in here, which included some Nintendo Switch and some Wii U games. But I ended up picking up Golden Sun for the Game Boy Advance. It is a loose cartridge, but also came in this Game Boy case. And here's a bonus look at Daisy Duke's pre-loved store in St. Austell. Poison and Legend VHS caught my eye, but let's check out what I picked up. So what did I pick up? Well, first of all, from Faceless Monkey in Truro, I picked up Kabuki Quantum Fighter for the NES. This is a platformer set in the future. This is a UK version, and it also has 3 screws on the back if you care about that sort of thing. Really cool to pick this up. I'm very happy to pick up NES games. Whenever I find NES stuff, I will definitely pick it up, and this is a cool game, so I'm glad to have that. Next up, we have a great game, and that is Mega Man 2 on the NES. This is a PAL-A version. You might be able to tell that it has a little bit of label damage there, so it doesn't look the best, but what's funny is on the back it has a £1 sticker from Cash Converters. Can you imagine this game being £1? And again, this is a PAL-A copy, and 3 screws if you care about that sort of thing. And yeah, an awesome platformer. Very happy to pick this up. I was very excited to see this as well, and despite the condition, I'm still glad to have this in my collection. So Mega Man 2 on the NES, and then another great game, and it is Metal Gear on the NES. This is a PAL-A copy, has an oval seal of quality, but this is a PAL-A copy, 3 screws if you care about that sort of thing. Top-down action game, classic game. I understand that the Japanese computer version is different, but still very cool to have this Konami classic Metal Gear on the NES. So really happy to have that. And I got some boxed NES as well. So first of all, we have Solomon's Key on the NES. This is a puzzle game, and this looks really good. Really happy to pick this up in the box. The box looks fantastic. Despite the box looking fantastic, the box is not in absolutely fantastic condition because the top of the box has sustained a little bit of damage. But the important thing is that the cartridge is in there and it is complete PAL A copy. Got that oval sealer quality, 3 screws if you care about that sort of thing as well. So that was very cool to pick that up. And I also picked up another boxed game. This is another Konami game actually, and it is The Adventures of Bayou Billy, and this is in absolutely fantastic condition. The box, pretty much looks factory quality. It's not, but it pretty much looks that way. It looks very, very good. Now I know this is a side-scrolling beat-em-up game, and it is not very good, but still the quality of this box is in top-notch shape, and everything is included here. You've got the manual here, and you've got the which is this way around, and you've got the cartridge as well, in great condition, which is really awesome. And it's great to have the manuals in these things because then you can see what the controls are and all that sort of stuff. You got sort of information in there, which is really cool. Just always really good to have the manuals for these things. Really awesome. Anyway, I picked up some more stuff from Faceless Monkey and Truro, and next up we have Bobble on the Game Boy. Now this is an absolutely fantastic game. I didn't have it on the Game Boy. Puzzle game, absolute classic, and man, had to pick up this awesome Taito title, and I'm very happy to have this as well. And you don't have a full color palette with the Game Boy regular version, but still I had to pick this up because it's such a classic game and I didn't have it on the Game Boy. So there you go, Bobble on the Game Boy. I also picked up a Master System game from the same location, which is Lord of the Sword, which definitely looks like some sort of power metal ballad style album there, doesn't it? Looks pretty awesome. This is a platformer and it plays pretty well. It's pretty fun. Great visuals on the box art, I have to say. Love that box art. But it is a great game as well. And this is complete with the cartridge and the manual. As I mentioned before, always great to have the manuals. Always great. So you know how to play the game. You don't have to look up the controls if you forget. Also picked up a Mega Drive game, James Bond 007 The Duel, for the Mega Drive. This is a platformer where you get to play as the suave Special Agent 007 of the Secret Service, Her Majesty's Secret Service, I should say. Pretty cool game. Has some great animations in it. Again, complete with the cartridge and the manual, so it's in great condition, except for missing the hanging tab. Some people don't consider these complete if they're missing the hanging tab, or I guess maybe the SEGA sticker that would seal it as well. I'm not a big fan of the hanging tabs, although I don't cut them off my cartridge cases, but I do prefer them without, because then they fit on the shelves a little bit better. But yeah, don't cut them off if they do have them. So there you go. Anyway, James Bond 007 The Duel on the Mega Drive. The last game I picked up from that location was Dino Crisis 2 on the PlayStation 1. This is in absolutely fantastic shape. Someone traded in a load of horror games, survival horror games, so they were all in absolutely great shape. And this is complete and in great condition. I had Dino Crisis 1 but did not have Dino Crisis 2. Have never played Dino Crisis 2, so I'm excited to check it out. It's got the manual, and it even has the little warranty card in there, and and the note about if you want to get some cheats or some hints. Of course the disc is in there as well. The important thing is the disc is there. So everything is complete, which is pretty awesome. I love it when all of the inserts are included. It's always nice to see what was included in the package. But yeah, they have Dino Crisis 2 on the PlayStation 1. The next location I checked out was Total Replay in St. Austell, and I picked up something I've been looking for a while, and that is Golden Axe Warrior which is a role-playing game for the Sega Master System. Now, as you can see, the box is in a little bit of a strange shape. Some of the inlay has been cut out for whatever reason. My suspicion is that this might have been a rental copy or perhaps a library copy or something like that, where they did that for whatever reason. But, you know, this game is kind of pricey, and I got it for a good price because of the condition, so I am happy about that. There's no manual, but the cartridge is included, and I did get an absolutely great deal on this, so I can't complain at that. I'm very happy to pick this up, been looking for it for a while, and, you know, I also managed to find, on the same day in the St. Austell CEX Axe Battler, for the Game Gear, so I'm all Golden Axe right now, but yeah, very happy to pick this up after it for a while. Golden Axe Warrior on the Sega Master System. I also picked up for the Sega Genesis Phantasy Star 3, which was a very interesting find to find a Genesis game, because I'm in the UK, I should find Mega Drive games, but for whatever reason, I can't speak, but for whatever reason, found a Genesis version, which is cheaper to find than the Mega Drive version, so I got this for a good price as well. Awesome role-playing game, fantastic game, very happy to pick this up, and definitely was looking for this. They had some more Phantasy Star games, but a little rich for my blood. But was definitely happy to pick this up at a good price, so very happy about that. And then, you know, hopefully I can grab the others down the line. Very happy about this. Phantasy Star 3, cool game, glad to have it in the collection for the Sega Genesis. And finally, from that location, I picked up a bit of an oddity. It is Raiden Trad, but this is an obvious, call it a reproduction, call it a bootleg, but it's obviously not the real thing. In fact, the code on the back is not the correct code for this game, which is pretty funny. But there's some very obvious tells that this is not a legit, and that mostly comes from the cartridge itself, because it should say Mega Drive on it for the Japanese version. So this is very much very much not as it should be. But I kind of like these oddities. I like picking up stuff like this, so I was happy to grab this. And you know what? It does work. The game does work, so that's cool. Very much an oddity. Raiden Trad, bootleg reproduction, cartridge. Happy to pick that up anyway. Yeah, pretty cool. So Raiden Trad on the Mega Drive. And then the last location and the final pickup was from Once Cash Center in St. Austell, and I grabbed Golden Sun, which for some reason they put in a Game Boy cartridge protector, but it is a Game Boy Advance loose cartridge for Golden Sun. Happy to pick this up, an awesome role-playing game. Very happy about that. I would have liked to have had it in the box, but I couldn't argue at the price that I found it at. And of course it was a lot cheaper than getting it in the box, so maybe I'll get a box and complete it down the line, maybe not. But anyway, very cool to grab that, and I'm very happy to find it. And you know what? I could always use more of these cartridge protector cases anyway, so that's cool as well. And there you have it. Those are my pickups for this episode of Game Hunting. If you liked the video, please leave a like or comment to let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content. And if you'd like to, you can also support me through Patreon or YouTube channel membership. Thank you for watching. I've been MVL, and I will catch you next time.